Hi, this is Stacy from The Advisor, and today I'm very excited because we have our special guest here. He is one of the experts and one of our podcast series experts on our podcast team, and he has a company called Reson Reson Resona Health. I'm going to do this over
Resona
again.
Resonance, yeah. No, that's good. You're fine.
Alrighty. Oh, wait. Hi, this is Stacy from The Advisor, and I'm very excited today because we have one of our expert podcast guests today. He actually has a podcast series on our podcast. If you go online, you're going to see his podcast and all the information about Resona Health. Resona Health is an amazing company, and he has created something very special to help people with all different conditions. And he's going to talk a little about that, and he's going to go over a couple of specific conditions that it could actually help. And I'm going to leave it to you, Mark, to talk a little about yourself. Just give them a brief introduction of who you are if they missed the first podcast, and tell them a little about the actual instrument and technology that you created that has helped millions of people improve their overall health. So, Mark, take it away.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm not a doctor. Let's clear that up. As I'm a ex-rocket scientist, and so my interest in frequencies ended up didn't end up. It started with my dog 23 years ago who got sick, and a veterinarian told me, "Hey, there's this magic machine that can do stuff for arthritis that no conventional medicine can really do." And I'm like, "Really?" So I learned about it from that point. That was kind of my starting point. So that was 23 years ago. I've been looking at the technology since then. I don't believe it, right? It's like this stuff can't be real. It's too magical, but there's too much data and information out there that shows there's something really there. So my motivation was around a lot of things, but primarily it started with PTSD. I think we talked about that in the last session. Was it made me very frustrated that there was a technology out there that could help people that wasn't affordable,
Yeah,
right? So these machines were kind of being blocked or held hostage in clinical environments, and they're expensive. I mean, they're 8 to 15 up to $30,000, which the average person can't afford. So the device is called Vibe. Looks like that. It's about a little smaller than yourself. It's half the size of the new cell phones, the bigger ones. It weighs like 2.5 ounces, and it's very simple. There's 59 core protocols on it. They're in alphabetical order. You just scroll to the one you want, you hit play, and you put it in your pocket. That's it. The protocols range from like 30 minutes to 2.5 hours. Each one's different. But that's it. It's putting out pulse electromagnetic field. So it's putting out a magnetic field, which sounds really weird and foreign, but it's not. The Earth is putting that out all the time. So you're
right.
engulfed in it's called the Schumann frequencies, which are pretty interesting where they come from. It's from lightning bolts echoing off the ionosphere.
Yeah.
So it's the shape of the Earth and the size, everything. It makes the Earth and the ionosphere almost like a little bell that oscillates. So you're surrounded by it. So it's not anything crazy or new, really. And magnetic therapies have been around for 4,000 years. Just pulse electromagnetic therapy has been shown to be way more effective, and it's only been around for 50 to 100 years at most. So that's what the technology is. It's really simple. You won't really feel anything except the results.
Right.
It's not. Some people confuse it like with a TENS unit where it's going to contract your muscles. You won't feel anything like that. 3% of the people might feel a little bit of tingling or something, but for most people, they won't feel anything. So that's kind of what the technology is. It's like I said, it has 59 protocols that are based on 8,000 practitioners and 35 years of playing with it.
Yeah.
Um, the frequencies are at, and people ask me what frequencies it run at. It doesn't. It runs two frequencies at a time. Think of like a chord on a guitar. There's two
Hmm.
notes at the same time.
Right.
So frequency pairs are a chord, and the protocol is a song. And each song is different depending on what the ailment is. So, like I said, they range from 30 minutes to 2.5 hours. So that's the technology in a nutshell. How does it work? Nobody knows exactly. You don't know how aspirin works either. But
Yeah.
what we do know that the cells, mitochondria specifically in your body, have a voltage on them, like a car battery. When that gets too low, you get sick.
Right.
And this recharges your cells' batteries. And then ATP, which is acetyl triphosphate, it's the main fuel that your cells use for food.
Yeah.
It ATP up to 500%. So those two things have been shown many times in studies. And so it's kind of like giving your body the energy it needs to heal itself.
Right.
That's in a nutshell.
Now you're doing a special right now. You're actually giving 40% off for people who are interested in purchasing it. Can you tell everybody about the special sale that's going on?
Yeah, like I said, the original devices are 15,000, mats are 7 to 8,000 out there. This one is $399 retail. And for your listeners, we give them a 40% off of that price to bring it down. So just to try and get them to try it. And it won't work for everyone, but, and this sounds, I don't believe my own numbers, but we have about a 97% success rate right now.
Wow.
So works for most people if you use it. And the ones that doesn't work for us, I used it once and message to all the 75-year-old guys running prostate. Nope, I can't reverse 75 years of prostate aging in one session. You're going to have to use it for 30 days,
Yeah.
right? 4 weeks and see if it has an effect. But a lot of people will see an instant result from it, which is still crazy to me that it can have an effect that fast.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. So everybody, all that information is going to be in the description box. You'll find out the link to go to and the code, and you can click right onto that and you could get the 40% discount.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, the codes, when they go to the landing page, there's more information. They can just read more about it, the technology and everything. We have tons and tons of information. And if they hit the buy now button, it automatically puts the code in there. But back up for a minute, just the information, just because I'm happy about it. The good news is we're growing so fast. We get so many phone calls and so many emails. I just created a AI bot named Monique. So if you go to the webpage, it's going to say, I'm Monique, please ask me a question. She is now within 7 days smarter than I am on any. So you're going to get an answer a lot faster probably if you ask Monique, but I will still call you back if I'm on the phone or
Hmm.
email me. Yeah, Monique is she's doing awesome. She's starting to scare me. Give me some answers I forgot I gave her. You know, it's like, that one again. Oh yeah, I wrote that 3, 4 days ago on this chapter on something. So it's that's pretty interesting.
Oh wow. I know AI is an amazing tool. It's pretty crazy. Now you wanted to talk about three different types of issues like and different conditions and different things that it could actually help with. So what were some of the things that you wanted to discuss? Because you had mentioned them earlier. What's the first one you'd like to bring up in conversation?
So blood sugar is the first one I wanted to talk about. Is in the core protocols we have the 59. One's called insulin resistance. That's the one that you would run for. That is one of the examples where we are seeing a lot of instant results that people do not believe it. I don't believe it, but they have continuous glucose monitors. They're pricking their fingers and doing the glucose measurements. And they're like, how could it have changed? And I have people going from 180 to 80 in
Wow.
30, right? And you're like, I don't know if that's sustainable long term. We're still trying to get enough data to understand that, but there's that. So that's a huge one. And then what I added about a month ago is, so on the device, the 59, 5 of them are called brainwave entrainment. So
Hmm.
theta, gamma, beta, right? So those are in the range of 1 to 30 hertz. And so I found collaborate with some other PEMF practitioners that have 70 more protocols that are in that range of 1 to 30 hertz. So I don't have the 8,000 people and 35 years of data behind it myself,
Yeah.
but they have a lot of experience with that. So now I'm repurposing or adding versatility to the device with those 5 protocols. So we have a list now of 70 other protocols. Some are duplicates to the core 59, but there's a specific one for diabetes. Mine's insulin resistance. This is diabetes, and it's in a completely different frequency range. So that's kind of like experimentation. Try it, which
Yeah.
is cool about all this technology is if your body doesn't need the energy, it just doesn't use it.
Right.
It just passes through you. So you can't quote overdose. I'll qualify that. A few people will tell me it's making them really tired. And I'm like, so what are you running? And they'll give me a list of 14. I'm like, you ran 14 protocols in one day? Well, cut back, because putting, your body needs time to use the energy to let itself heal. So
Yeah.
that's both side effect, really. It's interesting. I'm getting a couple cases where it made me feel sick, and then they came back later and said, well, I found out later I had COVID, right? One thing we do know is if you have an infection, is it can make you feel a little ill. So if it makes you feel ill, doesn't necessarily mean it's the device directly. It may be secondary cause of it, but it's releasing some of that inflammation around what's infected, like an impacted tooth or an infected toe or
Right.
something. But that's really exciting. Anyone that buys it, that tells me anything that they're using it for blood sugar is like, I'll beg you to please fill out the little survey at the beginning and do it again in 30 days, because we're trying to collect enough data to be statistically significant. I told you this on when we first met and other podcasts, is my number one goal in all of this is to not hurt anyone.
Right.
So I've spent forever looking at the frequencies, the energy levels, the data that's out there. And I'm confident it doesn't. Number two is I don't want to sell voodoo. So I can't advertise that, hey, blood sugar, whatever, is really dropping and really pushing it until I get enough data to fight off the Facebook haters, right? I need
Right.
enough data to show statistically I have a P factor below point. For your medical guys listening, P factor is below 0.05, which is what we need to do. Now we have, excuse me, a P factor of like 0.0007 for PTSD, but I don't have near enough data for blood sugar yet. But
Hmm.
all the indications are super exciting, right?
Yeah.
It's too bad we can't break into the Diabetes Association and get them to try different things, but
Oh, for
yeah. So,
sure.
and don't ever get off your insulin or do anything until your doctor tells you to. Now, I've said that to a couple people, and they're like, they're taking 60 to 80 units a day, and they're like, no, my doctor told me I can cut back on insulin as long as I'm monitoring it, right?
Right.
Because did I eat donuts that day? Then maybe I need it, right? Or did I eat healthy that day? I don't need as much insulin. So
Right.
people, their doctors telling them they can do that, and they're doing it. But it's
Yeah.
scary. Don't go from 80 to 0 without talking to him, right?
Right.
Or talking to the doctor, because I'm not a doctor. But yeah, we're getting some super cool results with blood sugar reduction.
And that's great because, right now diabetes has tripled in the past decade. It's gone insane. And, a lot has to do with the way people are eating. And if people can, bring down their sugar levels with your technology and be able to, change their eating habits, this could be a major tool in the community of diabetes.
Yeah, and it's the argument I have with my doctor, which I'd like to find another one for this reason, is one of my pet peeves is cholesterol, the other one's blood pressure. I know way too much about those two subjects, okay? And all the studies show that your high LDL does not matter. It is not harmful, okay? But I'm going to argue with my doctor all the time is like, so your LDL is too high. Not really. It's 130, okay? It's over your 99 limit or whatever, but
Yeah.
higher because I'm doing pseudo keto, right? I try to cut back on carbs. So
Right.
which do you want? Do you want me to get my cholesterol down? Then my blood sugar is going to go up,
Right.
because it says fat free in it means it has something bad in there. They had to
Oh,
put something
yeah.
else, right?
Mhm.
They had to put sugar or something else in there that's bad. So that's a trade-off I always have with my doctor, is trying to get them to get up to speed with their own data. It's like I'm much more concerned about my A1C and my blood sugar. In fact, I may have gone too far now that I'm doing the research, as mine last time was at 4.7.
Yeah.
And now, oh, that's too low. So maybe I could start, going the other direction a little bit. But yeah, so blood sugar is super exciting. I hope to collect a whole lot more data from people, and maybe next time we talk, we'll have a P factor of 0.007 and we can make an argument.
Yeah. And what about people that were born and they have it genetically inclined in their DNA, and those people who have it from birth, like are can technology that you have help them in any way, or is this more for the other type of diabetes?
It's you're referring to type 1, type 2 diabetes. Again, I'm not a doctor, so I got to be careful what I say here.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
conversation had with doctors are interesting. Some of the more open-minded ones said there's no such thing as type 1, type 2. There's diabetes and there's a gray scale, there's a range of it. So
Hmm.
there's 0.5. So I don't really know excuse me. The real answer is the data that we have has been for mostly type 2 diabetics.
Okay. I was just curious. Yeah. And can this can also help with high cholesterol as well?
Um, there's a expansion protocol for that, but I have not tested that at all. And
Okay.
I'm not interested in it personally because I don't believe it. I've looked at the stat wars and the studies, and I know that LDL is not harmful.
Okay. I gotcha.
So yeah, which we've been lied to forever. And you've been
Yeah.
lied to about your blood pressure too, but that's another one.
Oh yeah.
Grab a whole
That'll be a whole different podcast.
sure.
So what was the other topic you wanted to touch base on? There was another one that you were interested in. You wanted to talk about blood sugar and insulin, and then you mentioned one with,
Yeah, addiction would be the other one, which is this came about from this is how it started. It came about from a customer telling me he was severely addicted to cocaine and strip clubs. And I said, okay. He goes, so I've been running the solfeggio frequency resolve, which is 417 hertz. He's running that and he's doing one other one, but primarily 417. He goes, I don't have cravings for either one of those anymore. I go,
wow.
really? So I've been digging into that 417. There's two other frequencies. And then I found a couple NIH studies that were double-blind clinical trials running brainwave gamma frequency. So 25 to 30 hertz that got like an 85% improvement in addiction. So I circumstance had a podcast kind of like this with a lady in England a month ago, and it was after the podcast was over. I brought up this story about addiction. She goes, I know a lot of people with money and sponsoring addictions and clinics. So we're meeting with somebody here this month
Oh,
that's got a
good.
bunch of money, has multiple addiction clinics. So we're going to go run some studies there, hopefully. Um, so, oxycodone, is awful as far as the addictions there.
Yeah.
And, things like it immediately goes to drugs and alcohol and stuff, but things like a strip club that I just mentioned, and one that stuff I'm smart enough to have thought of.
Yeah.
A guy 3 weeks ago, he goes, I bought this because I saw a thing about your addiction for. So what's the number one drug in the world, Stacy?
The number one drug?
Most popular drug in the world.
So that's illegal or
No, it's legal.
oh, it's legal. So I would say the most popular one would be marijuana.
Caffeine.
Caffeine. Oh, wow. Yeah. I didn't think about that.
Most powerful drug in the world, although it's legal, right? So a customer called me and goes, I bought this for my wife because she drinks 13 to 15 cups of coffee a day.
Oh,
I'm like,
wow.
wow. So that's like drinking it all day. Does she sleep at night? And he goes, no, not really. So he goes, she ran it for 3, 4 days and she's back to 2 cups.
Oh,
And
wow.
never seen her drink only 2 cups. So that's encouraging. That's one I never thought of about
No,
caffeine.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, me neither. I did think of food and sugar just because I can't run Facebook ads for heroin addiction, right?
Yeah.
But I can for donuts and too much eating. And that same lady I just mentioned, honestly, today, she told me two different people in her preliminary study, which I didn't know she was doing,
Yeah.
for food addiction, just people eating too much potato chips, snacking,
Yeah.
that they're craving way back. So it's still experimental, obviously, all of this
Yeah.
is, but that's encouraging as it might be a mind reset or reboot for all kinds of different habits or addictions that are bad. So that'll be fun if we get to do that study, go test the different social geofrequencies, test the brainwave gamma that was
Yeah.
based on that study. So, and maybe the home run with that would be something I haven't even thought of. Maybe your listeners can contact me and go, what about this? Yeah, try it. Give me some
Right.
feedback. Help get rid of whatever those cravings are, right? I don't even want to bring this up, but I saw it on the news last night. It was on John Oliver. It was one of the congressmen or something has an app that he shares with his son where they can spy on each other and make sure they're not watching porn. It's some porn security app. And it was the whole thing that John Oliver did last night. I'm like, what? He goes, that's creepy. You got your son and your dad. But anyway,
Yeah.
maybe another one, right? Is watching too much porn. Maybe you try 417. So anyway, there's a long list of cool addiction things that could be tried
Yeah.
and see if they.
Well, I know for our listeners, addiction is one of the top topics, and that we have. We have a lot of people with food addiction, a lot of people with alcohol and drug addiction, and there's a lot of people who are trying to, just have addictive personalities. There's something in their brain, and they get addicted to things very easily, and they can't stop. And then we had a woman who just recently came on, and she talked about helping people get off of porn for porn addiction, and the rates skyrocketed because it's a topic that's real. These things are real. People are actually, they know they're addicted, they can't stop. There is something going on in their brain, because we do have a part of our brain that controls our addictive behaviors. And what happens if a frequency could actually calm those brainwaves or change the way we think and perceive things and take it away where we don't feel addicted to it? That's an amazing thing.
And I don't know why, but just as you were talking, what popped in my head was gambling.
Gambling,
Maybe
yes.
another one that I hadn't even thought of. In fact, I've never had that conversation with anyone yet, but it might be something to go try. And what it's actually doing to your brain, we don't know exactly how it's rebooting or resetting.
Yeah.
It's not, it's not like Schwarzenegger movie where I'm redoing your entire mind or something, but I'm trying to understand what it is based on comments people make. And then just kind of like, I don't know, I feel just lifted or something, kind of something off my shoulders.
Yeah.
Comments like, I just didn't want to be around, I don't want to go do anything. I didn't want to be around my friends, and now I do, right? When it comes to anxiety and stuff. So they're not, and with the pain one, it's really weird, as this is the most common comment when their pain goes away, is they don't say, hey, my pain went away. They go, something's not right. Their brain hasn't processed yet that it's better,
Yeah.
but it's almost brain's like I injured my foot. This is leg. This is an interesting story. So this is super sad that I kicked a soccer ball too hard.
Oh
Okay.
gosh.
But I thought it was sciatica. So I ran the sciatic protocol for a week every day, and it didn't get better. So here's one interesting thing with the frequencies. If you don't get better, you might be in that small percentage, but it's more likely you self-diagnose wrong,
Oh,
your protocol. So I'm like going, why wouldn't the sciatica work? It feels exactly like every description. Then I thought about, I was walking to the beach. There's a family out in the ocean. Their soccer ball was going to wash away. And I saw their towel, so I tried to kick it up there, and it didn't go the whole way. And it rolled back down the beach. I kicked it again. It
yeah.
didn't go. I'm like, am I committed now to get this ball up there? So I kicked as hard as I could, right?
Hmm.
And I didn't think much about it. And then walking home, I could feel my right foot was a little tingling. I forgot all that
Right.
happened. I ran sciatic and it didn't fix it. So I've been running for tendons and muscle injury and that stuff in the device, and I'm fine now. It
Wow.
took a week, and now I can't separate exactly how much did time finally heal it versus the device, but I actually don't care in my case because I
Yeah.
can walk.
Oh,
Well, I
yeah.
couldn't even bed. It hurt that bad. I mean, like flopping from side to side bed before I switch sides, I'd go because I knew it was gonna hurt like crazy. So anyway,
Yeah.
so that's some cool stuff. The last one I want to talk about real quick is just, and I'm still not there yet, but I'm one of those for meditation for the
Yes.
brain theta. I'm getting all kinds of feedback on brainwave theta, helping a lot. I am the worst meditator in the world. I have the worst monkey brain ever. Is for me to think about nothing for 10 seconds is a home run, right? But
Hmm.
it's helping me some. I'm not there yet, but I'm keeping after it, but I am getting better at it, right?
Yeah.
And so that's just kind of the last one that I think is cool. Getting, while you're doing yoga or stuff that you're already doing, what's again cool about this device that separates it from a lot of things is it's therapy on the go, right? It's
Yeah.
that I got to go to a clinic. It's not a big bulky thing I got to carry around. You just all the yoga pants you guys have has a gigantic pocket on the side of it, right? That you put your phone in, just stick it in that and
Yeah.
run theta while you're doing yoga or trying to meditate. And so it's really convenient that way for meditation. And yeah, I'm getting some really good feedback on that.
You know, it's funny you say that because I was never into, like, I loved yoga, but it was very hard for me to get to that meditation, that calmness state. And when I would go to meditation classes, it usually took me to the end of the class to actually
Right.
feel relaxed. And then, but that would be the end of the class. And then we have to get up and go. But it's like I
Right.
didn't have time to really enjoy it because it took me all the way to the end of the class. But then I started to do the chakra bowls, which is sound frequencies. And I would close my eyes and I would listen to each bowl had a different frequency. And then you could make it vibrate. And then I would feel my brain, something was happening in my brain. I could feel the different pressures in my brain, but it wasn't bad. It was a good thing. But it would make me so relaxed. Certain bowls would just calm me and clear my mind, where I couldn't get that in just a regular meditation class. I couldn't get down to that relaxed state. But those sound frequencies put me right away. Within a few minutes, I was at such a calm, you know, at a calm state. But those frequencies are made from energy. You know, you just have a stick and you're just going against the bowl, and it's the energy that's making these sounds that we can interpret through our hearing. So really, it's the energy, just like the technology you have, that helped me get to that calmness so quickly.
Yeah, and it's a very good point. So I don't want your listeners to get lost in the magic of PEMF and magnetic fields. It's energy. Okay.
Yes.
So it can be magnetic field, it can be electrical current, it can be a mechanical vibration like this chair shaking, it can be light, it can be sound. And the solfeggio frequencies, many of those bowls are exactly that, which are the solfeggio frequencies that we have on the device.
Right.
Um, I have some partners right now that's their expertise is bowls,
Mm-hmm.
sound bowls. So we're looking at all the frequencies that working the best for them, and do we, put those somehow into the device and in a future release, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Not sure I'm going to do a future release anytime soon because I thought I was doing goodness in the world by adding a few protocols, but it backfired on me because everyone's like, mine doesn't have that. Like, well, it didn't exist when you bought it. It does now. So that's some problems. I got to figure out how to manage the new releases, but we have a brand new device out that came out middle of November. I don't plan on changing it this year. It's got 59 core protocols, the other 70 expansion protocols. Between those two, there's something there. I
You
mean,
could always do the up versions, just like Apple does with their phones. You could keep the old one, but then you have the option of the new one. And I see many companies do that also. They always keep the old one, but when they do upgrade, you have the option to upgrade, or you could just, you know, it
yeah.
happens all the time with the iPhones.
It's like I get doctors call me twice a week. I need a programmable one. Tough. I'm not doing it because I'm trying to make it so simple that if it's programmable and somebody can plug in a cord and put in the USB and screw up the programming by downloading something. I mean, yes, it could be designed to make it less risky, but I still have people that turn on and go, okay, it's on. What do I do now? Well, watch the instructions for 2 minutes. By the way, for your listeners, the instructions are on this card, comes in the box. If you spend 3 minutes watching that, you won't have to call me. You will
Right.
understand. It's that simple, but yeah, there's nobody watches them. They're like, but most people get it, but there's still questions. I had somebody jam an RCA cable in here to try to charge it. I'm like, what cable will you use? Show me send me a picture. I'm like, that's a pink cord. Yeah, that's the cord you sent me. I only have white cords. I don't have any pink cords. I don't know what you shoved in there. No. Yeah, it's pretty funny because I've been called a psychic because women will contact. It's only the women so far admit it. They go, "What do I do if it gets wet?" I goes, "Quit dropping it in the toilet." had multiple ones go in the toilet. I don't know how this is happening. Because I know women are, they're bra and they're bending over or they're doing something. Somehow it's, I don't know what goes on in a female bathroom. You don't want to, but there's a lot of these devices go in the toilet. It's like rice is not going to work. Hit it with a blow dryer as quick as you can so the insides don't corrode, and it'll I've had them all work so far as long as you dry it fast enough. Don't leave it overnight, but
Right.
don't drop it in the toilet. Yeah, the first time that happened, he goes, "Are you a psychic?" I'm like, no, I'm just thinking through how else does this thing get wet.
Yeah, yeah,
No, yeah, it's not waterproof. No, it's not. It's not like your phone, where it's water resistant, because we had to put holes where the coils are to let it ventilate, because it does put out a little bit of heat. In
yeah,
fact, it was like 105 Fahrenheit, which is like warm water on your wrist, is what it kind of
right.
feels like, which most people like anyway. But
Yeah,
yeah, it lasts all the time. Mine's warm. Is it supposed to? Yeah, it's in the instructions.
right.
Okay.
I think, I think it's amazing that you have a 97% success rate. That tells you something right then and there. That would make me want to purchase it right away, is the success rate that,
You gotta be careful with that. I'm doing that off of returns and that type of thing. I know, back to the statistics, I know I have a 95% success rate with PTSD. You can bleep this out. I have 100% with asthma, but I don't have a large enough population to make the P factor argument.
right,
So I don't know what, back to blood sugar, I'd love to be able to have a hard number. ADHD for kids, we have a hard number because this exact protocol is used in Cleveland Clinic, and they have a 75% success rate with ADHD. Now it's being delivered, back to the energy thing, it's being delivered with wires, but
yeah,
it's the exact protocol that I'm using at Cleveland Clinic. They're just they're using this device now, but historically most of the data was generated with a unit that looks expensive unit that looks like a 10 unit, right? So,
yeah.
and that's the other,
There are many people with ADHD that are adults too, so I'm sure this would help the adults too.
absolutely. And yes, and actually I probably have more success so far, me personally, with ADHD in adult, because we haven't quite figured out the formula with a kid who doesn't want to wear it or put it in his pocket, stick it next to him while he's sleeping. So what they're actually doing at ADHD or at Cleveland Clinic, they have electrodes that they can't put on a kid either because they won't sit still long enough. So
Right.
he's actually running 3 machines to cut the time in it, because it's an hour and a half, and he's putting them in a bathtub. Now
Oh,
everyone thinks,
really?
yeah, he's throwing electrodes in the bathtub is going to shock him. No, the energy level is so low. It's 1,000 times less than a 10 unit. It doesn't electric, but you can't make a kid sit in a bathtub for an hour and a half. The water gets cold,
Yeah,
and you can play with him for 30 minutes as a stretch with ducks and that kind of stuff. But that's how he's been doing it, which is totally besides protocols being the same, right? It's nowhere near on the go therapy. He has a
right.
2-year list at the Cleveland Clinic for people to even get in,
Yeah.
right? So much better approach. But I have the solution for dogs, how to attach it to a dog. It's a bandana, which
Oh,
works fantastic.
really?
Yeah, we have these bandanas that look like that are custom designed to
Oh,
fit the
very
vibe.
cool.
Then the bandana just goes on the dog. And then we are testing now socks for horses. So
Wow.
it's actually in the product that exists called Shoe Fly that keeps the flies off their leg. And I'm modifying that design to just hold the vibe for arthritis, relax and balance, same kind of ailments that old people get, old
Yeah.
horses get. I had a lady crying the other night. She goes, all of us people that spend a lot of money on horses, we want to ride them. Then when they get arthritis, we can't ride them. You still have that horse for years. And so if you get a couple more years of arthritis free, so I'm like, yeah, we're trying to run a study and show it works for horses. But I have a bet going with some people. It's like, there's no way your dumb little tiny device is going to do anything to a 2,000-pound horse. I'm like, well, we'll see.
Well, that's
It
not
might.
true. That's not true, because you know what? I do red light therapy. I have a red light therapy band, and they use it for men and women. And it doesn't matter what weight you are, a small little thing goes through your body. And because it's energy, and what you have is energy. It's going through the body. So it's going through the entire body. It doesn't have to be large. As long as those frequencies are going through your body, like you said, the energy is going through it, and
Right.
it's helping, with whatever condition they may have.
One physics point of view there that just got the realization on my boat last weekend, right, was the magnetic field itself does not travel that far, but you can put this in your pocket and still make gout go away in your foot. How is that possible? It has to be resonating with the water in your body. I believe that. Um, because if you're not hydrated, it doesn't work as well,
Right.
which we know. So I think it's like a pebble in the pond. It's resonating with the water in your body. That's how it's traveling. And then what you just said, magnetic field is going to make an electrical field, electrical current, which is going to travel through your body because your body's electrically conductive. On the boat last weekend, when I was explaining this to another couple, the comment that hit me, she's like, that's probably like the same thing when a woman gets an ultrasound, they won't let you pee till the procedure's over because they want to keep all that water in your body.
Mm.
Yes, it's exactly the same thing that's happening. They don't want you to pee because you don't have enough water to have the ultrasound resonate so they can get the image back.
Right,
So
right, right.
start using that example as
That's a
ultrasounds, you can't pee. My wife told me, I go, you knew that? She goes, yeah, every time you ever have that done, they won't let you pee until. So the tank just came on. I flashed all your viewers, but
But that's a good example.
that's the call center back there, the fish.
Yeah. No, but that's a really good example. And it's amazing. It's amazing what it can do. And I love the fact that it helps so many different conditions, not just the ones that we mentioned today, but it could help so many. And it's so inexpensive. You go to a doctor's visit, I went to a doctor's visit for a consultation, and it cost me $600 just for the consultation. So imagine you can get a device like this, and you can also receive a discount, an automatic coupon discount on it. And that's like a dinner, going out to dinner. And look how many conditions, and look how many things it could help you with. And it's rechargeable. So it's like, it's not going to die. It's not going to break. You just keep taking care of it and recharging it. And you can use it over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that was the struggle I had trying to make it affordable, which it is, I think. I mean,
Oh, it
it's
is. I think so.
super inexpensive, right? But it's yeah, relative to a New York dinner and stuff. But yeah, it's I don't know how to answer this to customers when they go, well, yours can't be as good as this $8,000 device. It costs more for a reason. I'm like,
Not
not
really.
not necessarily. And I fall in that same trap too. If I'm buying a certain product, like I look at three of them, that one's the most expensive. I'll just grab that one because I think I want the better one. But it's working. We're getting good data back. The key point too is even though it's affordable, if it doesn't work for you, I'll give you your money back. And especially if you have any Canadian listeners or people outside the US, we have a 30-day money back guarantee. It's 30 days from when you get it. I had to change that because Canadian customs is being evil and holding them for 10 days, 2 weeks sometimes. And then people get it like they panic and got it. I was like, I'll work with customers. I want to help you. I'm going
Right.
to I'll give you the 30 days to try and use it. If it doesn't work, then I'll give you your money back. But don't get, I just don't, I'm trying to avoid some of these guys. And this has happened more than once now, not a lot. This thing's a paperweight. It doesn't work. I don't like it. I go, send it back and I'll give you your money back. This one guy for 6 months would not send it back. He finally did. This week he goes, I apologize, Mark. Obviously it was working because I felt way better then than I do now. Can I buy another one? I said, yeah, just don't ever email me again. I joke. Yeah, people seeing that as like, it's back to that weird thing that you forgot how bad you felt, right? And
Yeah.
seen that in a lot of studies too. It's like, I could always do this. I'm like, no, you couldn't. And one of the best ways besides biomarkers and Fitbits, things to go measure besides just how you feel or not is ask your spouse and your family.
Right.
Am I complaining less, right? If it's pain, anxiety, am I seem more outgoing? Am I communicating with kids more? You'll get more feedback from that maybe than yourself. And with the ADHD is a good point. The Cleveland Clinic, the doctor there, what he told me, it's almost always the teacher calls the parents and said, what medication did you change your kid to? They didn't change his medication, right? He's on, well, he's way better at school. So it's the teachers and stuff notice it. So that's kind of an interesting thing too, is
Yeah.
don't think it's working for you. Ask some other people if you're behaving, if you feel like you're better, right?
Right. Right. That's a great idea. I think it's so important for people to understand that if you can do it the natural way, it's so much better than going on these drugs. The side effects to some of these drugs are horrendous. I've known people that have gone on depression drugs, and they can't even feel anymore. Like a car could run somebody over in front of them, and they don't even have any sympathy because they can't feel the emotion, or just getting terrible side effects where they get the anxiety or they get the mood swings and the anger issues because of the side effects of the medication, or they're getting constant headaches. And it all depends on the person. Everybody reacts differently to medications, but if you could do it naturally, if you could give it a try and see what happens, and if you could do it naturally without the source of medications, it's so it's so worth it. And because of some of these medicines, their side effects can be really, really harsh.
Just one point, my pet peeve is, cholesterol and blood pressure, a few other things. It is awful that the statin people are not in jail. There's a 35% side effect rate with statins.
Yeah.
Right? They do what's called, the original study we called a run-in period, which for 6 weeks before the study starts is what they claim.
Yeah.
They kick out if you had a side effect. 35% of the people have muscle pain from statins, but they don't, as I said, it wasn't the official study yet. That was pre-study. That was a run-in period is what they call it. If you did that in any other science, you'd be in jail. You
Yes.
can't hide that data, but that's what they do. All my friends that are on statins are like, yep, leg cramps, your arms hurt, yep, yep. Right, it's awful. And the data shows it's not, again, not a doctor, but my soapbox of statins is go do your own research, right?
Yeah.
Take care of it. Go, you can go Google NIH PubMed is high LDL does not warrant statin medication. This
No.
guy did a meta-analysis of all the studies out there that said, nope, there is no benefit to that.
Right.
That's scary that it's the most used, was the most used drug in the world, still most profitable, most profitable drug in the world.
Yeah.
But the whole side effect thing is, yeah, they're awful. And right, your body's mechanical, it's chemical, and it's electrical, right? So it's weird that the United States, we know why, in 1934, but anyway, that we just stopped doing stimulation med. The
Yeah.
rest of the world not. Everyone else did. The US just quit doing, it was just, if it's not drugs or surgery, you weren't funded and you lost your medical license. And
Yeah.
that hangover, Stacy, is still there. I mean, my doctor, I'm not going to do anything the American Medical Association doesn't recommend. Like,
Right.
you don't even listen to the data. You don't want, I summarized it for you right here, but you won't read it.
Right.
Frustrating. Oh.
It is frustrating. I've come across many medical doctors like that. And I, my mother was having very bad joint pain, and she was on a statin, and she thought, they diagnosed her with a condition, and she was about to take medication for this condition, but then she decided to just try it. She took half the statin, and all of a sudden the amount of pain she was getting in her hands was gone. All the pain went away. So then she took herself off of it, and she started using more natural techniques. And it was because of the statin that she was getting all this muscle and joint pain from. And then things were slipping out of her hands because she couldn't close her hands quick enough because of the pain in her hands. But it was all because of the statin drug she was taking.
Right. That's super common, unfortunately. But Okay, we beat up stats enough. We'll get
All right.
on.
So I want everyone to know that, don't forget there is a special discount that Mark is giving away. It's a very reasonable cost for this device. And as you can see, it helps with all different types of conditions, and it has a very high success rate, and it's doing very well. And he has lots of testimonials. If you go on his website, you'll see different people, saying wonderful things about it and how they helped him, how it helped them. And it also he has tons and tons and tons of information on his website. Tell everybody your website so they know where to go.
Resona, so it's Resona. It's short for resonance. Resona.health / advisor. So yeah, we have a specific page for your listener. So resona.health / advisor, and then you'll find all the information from there. And you can ask Monique anything; she'll know. AI
And
bots.
yeah. For a second, I forgot. I was thinking Monique was a real person that I remember that you said early on. That's your AI person, yeah.
Turn it into a real person. I'm gonna get scared if she grows an attitude. Yeah,
Yes.
it's interesting.
Yeah, so everybody, I suggest that you go on to Mark's page, look at it, really understand, what this device is good for and how it could maybe benefit you, and give it a try. Lots of people are afraid of change, lots of people are afraid of trying things, but you know what, if I could help a condition that I'm dealing with on a daily basis that won't go away and that's causing me pain or causing me problems, and I would give it a try. It's something well worth it. And like I mentioned, I live on the East Coast, and what he charges for his device is the same thing it's going to charge me to go out for a dinner on a Saturday night. So imagine that, and you could have a device that could cure, and help get rid of, a condition that you've been fighting against your whole entire life.
Okay, thank you again for having me. It's always been fun.
Yes, it's always been fun. And thank you so much for taking, the time out to even, to create this device and to care so much about people and helping people, heal themselves naturally and not have to really
And
get what?
and dogs.
And dogs, yes, and dogs.
Dogs
Yeah.
and horses. Right.
And you know what? I had one dog that had terrible arthritis. He got to the point where he stopped walking up the stairs. And many dogs suffer from arthritis, and they're just like people. If I gave you a list of my older dogs and all the things they had towards the end, of their lives, they had everything you could think of. My one dog even had Alzheimer's. He had Alzheimer's, arthritis, and my other dog had a stroke towards the end. So they're just like humans. And they have so much love and compassion. They should be treated with respect.
I was
Any
gonna say,
animal.
just like humans, but they don't complain as much.
Yeah. Well, my dogs actually have a high-low pitch, and if they don't like something with that
Oh,
high-low pitch, they let me know.
okay. Okay, good. Thanks again
Hey,
for having me. Appreciate it.
oh, you're very welcome. You have a great day.
You too. Take care.
You too. Bye-bye.